Hello everyone and welcome to the TAS Morning Show. Our guest for today is Christoph Glaser, who is a famous international management guru and is here to give us some tips on creating the best version of ourselves. Welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thanks, Flora. It's a pleasure.
Okay, so let's begin with the first question.
Yeah.
What are the key components for a strong mindset?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think first of all, we need to understand what is mindset. I'm wearing glasses, Flora, and if I take them off, I can hardly see you, to be very honest. We all look to the world to certain glasses. Would you agree? Like you go to holiday, you just mentioned you were in Switzerland, you go with a couple of friends, you miss a train. Somebody will say, well, it doesn't matter. Somebody will say, oh, life is always against me. And somebody else will say, it's your fault. That's mindset. The good news is we can influence, manage, and shape our mindset, right? It doesn't need to stay that way forever. I think three components are absolutely vital. Number one, that we take responsibility in our life, When things go wrong, and if we say, I cannot influence these aspects, then we become very powerless. And feeling powerless is the worst place to be in. So the second aspect is a sense of self-efficacy, developing a sense of confidence that I can influence my state of mind. And the third aspect would be cultivating optimism. And I can give you a practical example for that. Flora, when I wanted to become a soccer professional. That was my biggest dream, and I had an accident when I was 17. I was in our, in many different elite teams in Switzerland, and I had a lot of back pain afterwards, actually for many years. And at some point, I realized I walked around with the mindset, I will always have this pain. And this always became my biggest problem. Can you see that? Sometimes we eternalize certain situations. We need to be watchful and mindful about our words. Are you using the word never or always? Then we stop giving the future a chance, and that's important.
Very well said. Absolutely right. We should stop saying never.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what techniques or methods do you use to help clients improve their mental performance and well-being?
It's a big issue. Statistics say, Flora, that about half of the population around the world is suffering from high levels of stress, high levels of anxiety. I think, in school, at home, we have learned so many things, but not how to manage our emotions, how to manage our thoughts. All of us, you and me, in average, and the viewers out there, we get about 6,000 thoughts every day. And none of these thoughts are knocking at our head and ask, can I come in? Suddenly, for example, a negative thought is there. How do we manage it? A thought creates an emotion, the emotion creates new thoughts, and then we are in that turmoil. And here the breath comes to our help. Stress, what is stress? There are outer dimensions for it. A simple formula can be too much to do, not enough time for it, or any other situation we suffer with. But from an inner dimension, if we look at it, it has a lot to do with our mind, thinking about the future, for example, worrying about the future, right, when we are stressed, or regretting the past. Let's assume you and me maybe we lie in bed, we cannot sleep well because there's so much going on in our mind. We cannot say, I must sleep right now. We cannot manage our mind from the level of the mind. But the breath is always in the present moment. Would you agree?
Yeah, I do.
I cannot say I'm doing now an interview with Flora, I will not breathe. Not very intelligent. The breath is in the present moment. And when I bring my attention to the breath, the mind comes to the present moment, and that's when effective self-leadership, where well-being starts. When we are present, we are more happy, we are more effective, we are more productive, and we connect better to other people. So I would say the breath is the key. But unfortunately, we have neglected it. Scientists say we use only 50, 60, 70% of our lung capacity.
Whoa, okay. I think we should start actually focusing more on our breath now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, that gives me a chance to ask you that when you are coaching people, do you also incorporate mindfulness or meditation into your coaching techniques?
Yeah? Yes, absolutely. I think when we meet each other in the offices, for example, or at home, we all ask each other, have you slept well? Have you eaten your food? But have you ever asked your friends or colleagues, good morning, how is your breath today? It doesn't even really happen. We are neglecting the most important source of energy. We can live for a couple of days without eating. It's possible. It's maybe not nice, but it's possible. It's possible to live 2, 3, 4 days without sleeping. But how long can we live without breathing? Right?
No, we cannot.
Yeah, we cannot. And bringing the attention to that, using that incredible potential of our breath, can be a solution to sustain the business day. And you know, when our energy is high, our mindset, and you have been asking about mindset, our mindset is also typically better. Would you agree?
Yes.
If we don't sleep, if we don't have food, we don't think good about ourselves, our friends, the situation. But if the energy goes up, optimism dawns.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. Your positive energy also affects the other people. So it's always nice to have that in check. So, well, coming back to our questions, what exactly in fact, I should say, do you measure progress and determine your coaching, whether it's effective or not? How do you measure it?
I would say we can measure the success of coaching or life by the smile which is on our face and we bring to other people's face.
Well, now we all know that we all have a very busy lifestyle.
Yeah.
So in such situations, what would you say? How should people actually, how should they deal with such stressful situations? Like, do you have any tips on that?
Yeah. You know, first of all, again, it's important to start taking responsibility for it. You know, there is a sphere of influence. There are certain things that cannot change maybe right now. As we are talking, there's war in the world. There's inflation in many parts of the world. There are certain factors we might not be really able to influence, but there are other factors we can, right? I can influence my own mental situation. I can influence my physical situation. I can influence potentially my own emotions. And if I start managing that, my perspectives start changing, right? I feel better about myself, about others. Even the way I look at the world is more optimistic. And you know, in my life, I would say I was not always an optimist, to be very honest. Due also to my injury, I had a good amount of negativity. For me, it was so precious to meet Sri Ravi Shankar, to get to know the science of yoga and then learn these breathing techniques. And I have come to the conclusion that when I focus and I help other people to focus on what they can influence, it makes a huge difference.
So, well, what actually does a typical coaching session with you look like?
Yeah. You know, the typical thing about my coaching sessions is that they're all different.
Okay.
So if a coaching is one-to-one, I think the art of coaching is the art of listening, you know, being there. You know, the currency, I would say, of leadership, the most precious thing we have to give to each other is attention. And out there in the world, would you agree, Flora, there's a fight for attention. We're all on our mobile phones and we say to each other, can you listen to me? I'm talking to you. So as a coach, most important is to share my attention, my good wishes, and then being available. And then customizing an intervention which is really useful for that person or for a particular team. But, you know, we in our organization with the TLEX Institute, we work a lot with organizations, right? We do in-house trainings for the largest organizations in this world. We have impacted almost 500,000 leaders and employees in 50 countries. And we have programs which help with self-leadership, emotional intelligence, resilience, and how teams can come together so that they really excel. They're high-performing and their whole is more than the sum of the parts.
Well, now this was all about others.
Yes.
What about you? When it comes to you, your personal growth
Yes.
and development, what do you do and how do you work on it?
On what?
On your personal growth and development.
Well, let me think.
That's okay.
First of all, it's something very important to me and I actually dedicate prime time to it. I'm now 52, so 30 years ago, I started to dedicate the first hour of the day. So I get up, take a shower, but then the first hour I dedicate to doing some physical exercise. And then I typically do some breathing techniques. And that gives me a good amount of strength and allows also for some sort of introspection. You know, it gives me then kind of a good intuition of what needs to be done in the day. It clears my mind. and I have enough energy then for the day. I think that's very important, that first hour. And then typically at the end of the day, I want to go for a walk. Even if it's only 10, 15 minutes or 30 minutes, being with the nature is vitally important. So these are the two anchors in my life. Rest of it, I mostly work or I'm with people.
So last but not the least, which is that how do you ensure that your coaching is in line with the long-term life goals of your clients?
Yeah. You know, purpose is very important. I typically ask my clients, who are you? Who do you want to be? Who do you want to be in a couple of years? And what really is important? Which values are important for you? When we help people to connect to their purpose, we help them to connect to the most important source of energy. You know, McKinsey, a piece of research, Flora, was saying that if people feel what they're doing at work is meaningful for them, they have 5 times higher well-being and 4 times more engagement. And the good news is we can find meaning in whatever we do. Meaning is not something that only comes with finding a great activity. I can give meaning to every action. The Japanese call that ikigai, that reason to be, that sense of I'm going to make a difference in every little action. And I'm adding to the value of other people or to the value of this planet. And that's something wonderful. You know, I think depression, and many people are depressed out there, and I'm sure we have all experienced moments of it. In the sense, when we experience depression, many times it's all about myself, right? It's that question, will I get what I need? Can I keep what I have? We all have this worry. But when we expand a little bit and we ask, what can I do for you? What can I do for this planet? You know, then we expand, our consciousness expands. And happiness is a situation where our whole being, the body, the mind, the spirit expands. And if we can help others and ourselves to get in that sense of expansion, we are happy, and it's something wonderful. And that's my goal, to help individuals, teams and organizations to expand.
Wow. I'm in awe. That's amazing. I would wish you all the best.
Thank you.
I hope you can spread more happiness and to around the people around the world. Really. Thank you so much. Yeah, it was an amazing chat. It was. And thank you so much for being on my show. Thank you.
Thanks, Flora, for the great questions. I really thought they were excellent. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Very, very inspiring.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching The Morning Show. For more updates like these, follow the Arabian Stories.